Welcome to the Jeffers Brief, only on Contra Radio Network.
And good evening, members of the intelligentsia and fellow mumblers. I'm John Jeffers here on the Jeffers Brief. We're trying a new format. We're going to be on Mumblit.com doing a live stream. That's right, a live stream. Now, is this going to work? I don't know, but we're recording it just the same. I think, I'm guessing, and I'm hoping that maybe we'll get some kind of... 6 years ago when I started this show, we were on Blog Talk Radio, and we could do video. We had call-in numbers, all that stuff, and we also had a chat room available. Well, Blog Talk Radio ended up being, let's put it this way, it could have been a lot better, and they chose not to improve it. So I went to a different platform, which is what we're on now, podbean.com, and we're trying to go ahead and do the live stream version here. We'll see what happens, how it works out. I want to say hi to Porky Wheel in Northern Ireland. I see you're logged in, buddy. Glad to see you're here. I see Lance Wolf is also on. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate it. What's going on in Portland? I know you've seen the videos. So have I. And I got to tell you, I think they should let the city burn. Some of you are saying, it's really harsh. No, it really isn't, and I'll tell you why. You see, the citizens in Portland, not all of them, obviously, but the vast majority voted for the city council and the mayor based on who they were. Now, my guess is those candidates that were running, who are now in office, didn't hide who they were. Told people exactly what they stood for. And they got voted in. And now some people are throwing a fit saying, oh no, can't do that, can't have that. So, I got to tell you, you get what you vote for. And I got to tell you, man, I myself, I don't like what I'm seeing there. They burn, the rioters burn, they shoot. And look, they shoot fireworks, but my guess is they're now throwing Molotov cocktails at federal law enforcement. Can I say something here? When it came down to this, and this is true, my friends. When conservatives took over a wildlife refuge in the state of Oregon, same city that Portland is, guess what happened? The feds went apeshit. They called in the state, the county, the locals. They even killed. They shot a few and they actually killed one. Finsicum. Killed. But now, we've got absolute violence in the streets of Portland, and the feds are afraid to act. They should treat the rioters in Portland the same way they treated the occupiers of the wildlife refuge. Just saying. And here's another thing. Now, the politicians want us to all wear masks in public. So, why don't they give the mask to the people in prison instead of letting them out? If the masks are such a great idea, then give them to the prisoners. Let them wear masks and stay in prison like they should be, instead of letting them out to commit more crimes. Just saying it. Just bringing it out. Pointing it out. Now, according to Urban Survival Site, shortages are coming. Trisha Drevitz has written an article about the shortages are coming, and here's what to get, according to her list. So let's go over it, because I know there are some people who are on a tight budget, can't always afford to do what some of us do. So the panic buying has slowed, and the stores have adjusted hours to allow employees time to clean and restock shelves. Yet the signs on store shelves ask that customers to limit purchases of toilet paper, cleaning supplies, and certain foods remain as a stark reminder of recent shortages. Now, COVID-19 is spiking in many parts of the country. You know what? Hold on. Before we go there, it's spiking all over the world, not just many parts of the country, all over the planet. Today, China has reported it has the most COVID-19 cases it's had since April. Probably one of the few times the Communist Party in China has actually told the truth. So let's not get, don't believe the mainstream media as they sit there and they stoke the fires to get you all hyper and crazy about it. Spiking everywhere in the world. Now, a troubled and civil unrest that likely will continue through election time, we are learning that shortages may become a fact of life. Our nation's supply chain continues to be vulnerable to disruptions that may come in waves, just like we. Anybody else there? No. Okay. Oh, I should put this out here. I should. Oh well, I'm not going to. It was a call-in number. Sometimes people call in, sometimes they don't. Now, we can learn from some of the lessons of early pandemic buying. Did you build up the recommended 14-day quarantine supply of essentials back in March? If so, or if not, it is time to restock while you still can, because times are good. Focus on foods and supplies that you usually use. Just make sure you have enough to last for several weeks. Now, here are 15 items to have on hand, and a few not to worry so much about. Number 1, acetaminophen, Tylenol. Did you remember when a medical journal announced a link between ibuprofen and worsening COVID symptoms? Well, that news sparked a run on acetaminophen in many stores. So make sure you replenish your supply of pain relievers and other over-the-counter medications. Again, there's no need to buy a year's supply, just enough for a few weeks. And if you have prescription meds, refill them now. It is. Antibacterial wipes, they're coming back on. Go to your dollar store. You will find them there. Now, in a rush to clean surfaces in their homes and businesses, people fill their carts with wipes and other home cleaners. You don't need to hoard these items now, just buy enough for a few weeks. Now, if you prefer to make your own cleaning solutions, check your supply of white vinegar, baking soda, and other ingredients you use before they too disappear from the store shelves. How about canned proteins? For example, canned tuna. Surprisingly versatile. You can toss it in a pasta, use it in a salad, or make a sandwich with it. Number 4, crackers and cereal. Now, these items last a long time and they store easily. And don't forget shelf-stable snacks such as chips and pretzels or whatever your family prefers. May I also add to that list, you remember the canned cheese? Flip it down, you push the little white nozzle and it comes out in pretty ruffle or whatever. Canned cheese, there you go. Don't need to refrigerate it. Dog food. Well, cat food, animal food that you need. If you have responsibility for pets in your family, you need to make sure they've got food too. So don't forget about your pets and livestock when you plan what your family needs for a shutdown. Number 6, dried fruits. You can enjoy the fresh fruits of summer while you can, but stock up on dried fruits for when they're no longer available, and you know what's coming. We hit August. That's the third part of summer. Number 7, eggs. Now, did your supermarket run out of eggs this spring? Many did, and the shoppers saw a price increase in eggs when they came back to the shelves. Now, store-bought eggs last 3 to 5 weeks in the refrigerator. There is a way, my friends, to store eggs. If you can find a way to buy fresh eggs from the farm, do so. Do not wash the eggs. If you wash them, the time starts going on the 3 to 5 weeks. Do not wash the farm fresh eggs you just bought. Wash them as you use them. Number 8, face mask. This reminds me of something. And this is true, my friends. I see people walking around with just a cloth mask on. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. For me, I do. I'm not taking any chances. I got health risk that I am not going to risk it. But I have to say this. On these cloth masks, it's like using a cyclone fence to stop mosquitoes. There's not a cloth mask out there that can stop a 1 micron sized particle. They can't get the weave tight enough. Think about it. Now, many health experts believe that coronavirus is airborne. That means that whether you prefer a cotton mask or disposable mask, face masks are here to stay for a while. Even if your state has not enacted mandatory orders for face masks, many workplaces and local stores require them. Online brick and mortar stores have them in stock now. That could change quickly, so get yours or make yours now. Now, you may not agree with me about the cotton face mask, but that's neither here nor there. All right, I'm going to take a break, and then we're going to come back from break because I got to pay some bills here. You know that.
At Stag Arms, there is no weak side. Our rifles are 100% American-made, including each and every part assembled. We aim to provide recreational shooters, law enforcement officers, hunters, and professional shooters with super quality and competitively priced rifles. Every rifle shipped is built to order. Check out Stag Arms now. Log on to ContraRadioNetwork.com and click on the Stag Arms banner. Proper has made tactical gear with a purpose for over 50 years, since their first U.S. Navy contract in 1967. Today, Proper designs and manufactures professional-level tactical apparel and gear for military, law enforcement, and public safety professionals and civilians, whether in the service, on the job, or off for the weekend. Log on to ContraRadioNetwork.com and click on the Proper banner now.
Welcome back. Let's continue with the shortages. Flour and other baking goods is number 9. Now, many people discovered or rediscovered the joy of baking during the pandemic, especially bread. Don't let all that new knowledge go to waste now. Flour was hard to come by last spring. Number 10. Frozen staples. Frozen vegetables were quick to sell out in the spring, so plan to purchase bags of your favorite vegetables to store in your freezer. As we saw earlier this year, meat packing plants were vulnerable to the virus. It's a good idea to buy a few large packs of meat and freeze them in smaller portions for later use. Rotate them in your menus and replace them as necessary. Number 11. Fruit juice, coffee, and tea. Choose the varieties that your family already likes to drink. Now is not the time to experiment with new flavors. Life is stressful enough. Why add to it? Number 12, hand sanitizer. Now, bottles of hand sanitizer are almost impossible to find in March and April. Many people were forced to make their own. By the way, my wife made her own hand sanitizer. Still here to tell you about it, so it does work. So if you'd like to keep some on hand in your car, your backpack, or your office desk, take advantage of the current available supply. Hand soap also flew off the shelves recently, so replenish your home supply. A warning. In Waukegan, about last month, I'm thinking, there in Waukegan, Illinois, the people left a bottle of hand sanitizer in there. And the hand sanitizer, I believe, was at 90%, 91% alcohol. Well, it got very hot in the car, and guess what happened? The alcohol bottle went poof, and they had an alcohol fire in their car. Take it for what it's worth. I'm not going to tell you, that's all I'm going to say about it. Number 13, nut butters and nuts. Now, for a quick burst of energy and nutrition, nuts pack a good punch. Store nuts in the fridge for extended freshness. Number 14, shelf-stable foods. Now, replenish your supply of non-perishable foods such as rice, pasta, soup, and beans. By the way, I have no idea why rice and pasta could not be replenished quickly. It took forever. It was so bad, I had to send one of the columnists for PJ Media, Jeff Reynolds. He couldn't even find pasta where he was. I bought it here and I sent it to him. So he had some pasta, some rice, and some other stuff. So, for some reason, these staples, yes, they last a long time, and they're the first foods to vanish from the shelves in a crisis. Something to think about. For those of you who have kids, or you like your cereal, shelf-stable milk. Long expiration date, packaged almond, rice, soy, or oat milk is excellent to have on hand for any emergency, and an ongoing pandemic is no exception. Our bonus is water. Water, my friends, number one item that you need to live. Bar none, bar anyone. You need water. It's always good to have an extra stash of water for everyone in your household. Now, if you really want to get crazy for you preppers out there, you already know this. Some of you may not. You store 2 gallons of water for each person in your household per day for at least 3 days. It should be enough for drinking and sanitation. And if you have room for a 2-week supply, well, by all means, bless you, my son, go for it. Now, there are other things you could find that you're going to need. I would suggest, first and foremost, I know Dollar General, Family Dollar, and definitely Dollar Tree all have frozen food sections. Go there first. Sometimes your grocery store will have the frozen vegetables and fruits cheaper, but at Dollar Tree, I know this for a fact, you can get frozen vegetables and fruits for $1. $1. Is it a big bag? No, but you can get them there. And besides, are you going to be using all that stuff at once? No. So smaller packages, it'll take some more room, but you're not going to be using it all at once anyways. Something to think about. All right. What else have we got? Am I there yet? My time? Oh, no, I got plenty of time. Oh, what else have we got coming up? Sometimes I lose my train of thought because I want to make sure I get you the best information available. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. Let's see, we can find out here. The Gateway Pundit. I like the Gateway Pundit quite a bit. What else do we have here that might be? Now, Dr. James Todaro. Google and YouTube have censored a paper outlining evidence of HCQ, that's short for the hydrochloroquine, treating COVID-19 for violating terms of service. It's time to shut down those clowns. Carter Page is... where is it? Here we go. I would like to talk to you about the curious silence of the traitors. Now I'm talking about Comey, Brennan, Strzok, and a bunch of those others. I know what you're thinking. But it's supposed to be about prepping and pandemics. I'm just here to give you a little nudge in the right direction, help you out, give you some ideas, some tips on it. This is for you patriots out there, and you know this is coming. And if you haven't noticed it, you should have. Now, remember when John O. Brennan, Obama's CIA director, and disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok were regularly spewing anti-Trump diatribes on Twitter? Well, Strzok went silent on 11 July, and Brennan did the same a week later on the 18th of July, and I don't think that is a coincidence. Now, Larry Johnson wrote this. He's a columnist out in Los Angeles, a great black American, conservative, and he calls it like he sees it. And I respect that. Now, I have not heard from three separate sources that John Durham will have plea deals and or indictments before 1 September 2020. Two of the first heads to roll likely will be the lying lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith, who deliberately withheld exculpatory information from a FISA application to spy on Carter Page, and lover boy Peter Strzok. Yes. Wipe that smirk right off his face. And then there is the retarded fool John Brennan, who fancies himself as the Mozart of the intelligence community. Sorry, John, you do not even qualify to clean Salieri's toilet. Until 9 days ago, John was a regular tweeter, hurling foul invectives at Donald Trump. Now here's two examples of their July 11th screeds from Peter Strzok on Twitter, screaming, "Russian efforts to interfere in our political system and the essential question of whether those efforts involve the Trump campaign required investigation. It was critical for us, and before us the FBI, to obtain full and accurate information." That's Strzok. So, and then of course, to go back after Trump, he says, if only we had someone in the White House with even just a small fraction of Bob Mueller's integrity, competence, intellect, and lifelong respect for the rule of law. We don't, but we can change that in just 4 months. You know, I heard they want Mueller to come back and testify in front of Congress again. I got news for him. He barely made it through the first time. He barely made it. And even then, he looked like he looked lost, and of course, he was. So Trump's pardon of Stone apparently pushed him over the edge. Boo-hoo-hoo. But then it has been crickets from these two chowderheads. Has the past caught up with him? At least in Strzok's case, he has retained legal representation. No indicator yet about Brennan. Now, a competent lawyer would understand that tweets, especially those attacking the Trump administration, is a potentially dangerous, self-incriminating activity. Now, more than 2 weeks of silence from Strzok and 1 week from Brennan does not appear to be a mere instance of having nothing to say. Lack of substance has not prevented these two buffoons from shooting off their mouths in the past. Is the day of reckoning come nigh? Makes you wonder. And like you, I too am just dying to get these indictments rolling. So, yes, there'll be some that will take the plea deal. Now, usually the idea for the plea deal is they'll have to roll over on somebody, and thus the domino effect starts. Oh, they're going to work their way up. Does it mean they're going to get Obama? Probably not. Will you get those below him or just below him? Maybe. Depends on what they have. So I don't know. I don't have the answer to all these questions. I know. You're asking, why don't I have it? Because I don't. If I had all the answers, I would be the king of the country. And I would have done something now, long ago, to stop the crap in Portland. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I'm trying to think. 9 ways to prepare for civil unrest. Well, should we do that? Perhaps, yes. Well, I think we shall. Look, I got to take a break again. If you're watching me on Livestream, stand by. We'll be right back.
This is the Contra Radio Network, CRN for all the right reasons.
So, are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Life is unpredictable, but you can count on Valley Food Storage to help you and your family prepare. With clean, natural, great-tasting, and long-lasting food storage, with our natural and nutritious freeze-dried food, you'll be storing the food you love to eat. Log on to ContraRadioNetwork.com and click on the Valley Food Storage banner.
Now, some of you, welcome back. Third segment. Let's talk about 9 ways to prepare for civil unrest, my friends. Now, if you live in a Democrat-controlled city, chances are you're going to want this. Now, some say, well, it can't happen here, but many never believed a pandemic would happen either. So, civil disobedience is actually a sign of a functioning democratic society, and I've got no problem. If you want to scream, carry your signs, jump up and down, shout, whatever. But once you cross that line into criminal thug behavior, all bets are off and you are no longer protected. Now, Thoreau outlined civil disobedience in Walden Pond as a necessary right when expressed through passive resistance. Both Gandhi and Martin Luther King espoused passive resistance as a way to protest without causing damage or harm to others. Unfortunately, the right to free speech and to assemble in public to protest is not always governed by the calm and sound thinking of Thoreau. The benchmark of civil unrest usually occurs when a protest staged by a large gathering of people goes from free speech to violent action. What motivates that action is proportional to the reason for the protest. Now, a protest against higher local taxes does not spark the level of outrage that would lead to damage or violence. However, highly charged and emotional issues driven by religion, politics, injustice, or discrimination carry an emotional charge that has resulted in civil unrest defined by riots, looting, vandalism, and violence. And they've happened everywhere around the world for thousands of years, even in ancient Rome, my friends. Now, the coronavirus pandemic has put unprecedented stress on global economies, governments, businesses, and the general population. By the way, I'm going to stop right here. If you hear somebody say, well, Trump closed down the economy, no, he did not. He did not close down the economy. That decision and responsibility falls squarely on the governors of those states that shut down their economy. Squarely on them. President Trump never ordered the shutting down of state economies. Never. And I defy you to show me where it is he said to do that. I defy you to do it. You can't, because it never happened. So, as a demonstration grows, let's face it, we got demonstrations against lockdowns and protests against rules perceived as draconian by some, and they're being challenged, ignored, or denied. In some instances, people have shown up to demonstrate bearing weapons under the protection of open carry laws. As demonstrations grow, it's only a matter of time before a weapon is actually discharged, which we saw over this weekend. Do not tell these liberal fools with weapons running around how to handle their weapons safely. Do not comment on it on Facebook or Mumblit or anywhere else. Let them do it. Now, weapons aren't necessary to spark a riot. A single broken window or fire in the street has been the catalyst for massive mob riots from England in 2011 to the riots that tore up the United States in the 1960s. Now, police departments have spawned professionally trained riot squads to deal with civil unrest, but there's a problem that has become apparent from the past. The police are there to break up the riot and potentially arrest violent protesters. They are not there to protect individuals from harm nor protect property from damage. The military also has specialized units trained to deal with civil unrest, and their rules of engagements are just as narrowly focused. Just as daunting are the occasions when the police have stepped back and not engaged with rioters. The strategy is not to inflame the situation, but control it by limiting the violence to a defined area, and that's when authority can fail. If you happen to be in that defined area, you are not only subject to any violence that ensues, but the police are not there to protect you. In fact, it may be assumed you're part of the problem, and you can quickly find you are very much on your own. In fact, the failure of authority, whether it's defined by the police, the government, or any other government body, is another catalyst for frustration and anger, further fueling civil unrest, and the perfect storm continues in an unabated circle. You with me? No? Okay. Well, I'm just letting you know. So, what are the steps you can do to protect yourself and your family? Number one, stay home. And here's some things to regard staying at home for the long term. We talked about food, medicine, personal care, even clothing. Now, can you bug out if your area is, all right, look, if you have a well-supplied bug out location in an area that's not affected or as affected by civil unrest, you should definitely pursue that option. The key is to get there before civil unrest occurs or at least spreads. Stranded on a highway, blocked by rioters and gangs, is a bad place to be. Leave quietly and only tell immediate and trusted family members who are not accompanying you that you are bugging out. I'm not even sure I would even tell them. Number two, you got to know what's going on. Internet, TV, radio are critical sources of information. Radio may be the best source for local information and alerts. Now, I don't trust local TV here in Chicago because as far as they're concerned, they're all peaceful. They tell me that every night, so it must be true. I wouldn't trust any local newspaper either. I just don't. Because they're the same cut and makeup as the mainstream media that you see on local TV and everywhere else. But there are other places to get information. I'm not sure, whether you follow national or global news, whether that'd be any better as a good indication of the current state of events, but they rarely offer real world or real-time information regarding the immediate area where you live. So it doesn't matter what's happening in Germany. You need to know what's happening in your city and neighborhood. So here's some things to watch for as you assess any situation surrounded by civil unrest. Are there specific alerts, warnings, cautions, or all clears provided by local emergency management agencies or departments? Are there hot spots where activity is either taking place or out of control? Are there safe zones set up with police and possibly military supervision and protection for essential services? Number three, you keep a low profile. If and when you do leave your home, avoid any groups, demonstrations, or activities that have potential for problems. Do what you have set out to do and return home as soon as possible. I would not speak to anybody unless you absolutely had to. And there's nothing wrong with being polite and concise with your communication. Some people are looking for trouble. It's best not to give them an excuse to start it. And better yet, you have a mission to do. And arguing with these boneheads isn't it. Number four, don't be a show-off. Now, experienced preppers and patriots understand that advertising a well-stocked and supplied home or bug-out location is a bad idea. In the same way that everyday burglars case a property based on what they see, a desperate mob in a time of civil unrest will be looking at things the same way. Things to consider: keep your garage door closed, close drapes in all windows, lock your doors, and if possible, reinforce the locks and other entry areas to your home. I would remove any items in your yard that are visible. If you can't put them in your garage, at least put them in the back of the house, cover them up. Because it makes sense to share what you have with family and friends you don't live with, but remind them not to tell the world where they got a 20-pound bag of rice or 5 gallons of gas. Better yet, if people like that, your friends and family who, one, ridiculed you for prepping, don't believe you're prepping, don't tell them a damn thing, because they can't keep their mouth shut to begin with. Now, number 5, avoid confrontational gatherings. Regardless of how you feel about an idea or how strongly you feel about it, joining a demonstration or angry gathering will put you at risk. And in times of civil unrest, even the most benign gathering or protest can quickly take a turn for the worse, especially if there are agitators in the group intent on making trouble. But protest if you must. But if part of your responsibility is to take care of your family, you have to consider who needs you more. Number 6, never travel alone. This is going to be a tough one, boys and girls. If you must travel, consider having a person accompany you, but ask them to remain in the car while you go into the pharmacy or grocery store. Make sure they lock the doors. Number 7, and I'm not sure I agree with this one, it's let people know where you're going. I don't know. I don't like the idea. Safety in numbers. Sometimes that is true. And number 9, you got to be prepared to defend yourself. Now, here's a short list of considerations. Arm yourself to the degree that you feel the needs based on the situation. Take time to familiarize yourself and all members of your family with firearm operation and safety. You should have already done this. Should have been done a long time ago. You have to understand the laws that apply to self-defense wherever your geographic location is. Discuss scenarios with adult members of your family that could cause you to need to defend yourself and a basic plan. Should have already done that. Practice your plans. Deal with medical emergencies or any other scenarios that you feel need quick and timely decisions. Determine a safe room where children or the elderly can be safely isolated in the event violence comes to your front door. You should have already done that. Should already be in your plans. And yes, if you call 911 if you feel violence against your home is imminent, but there's a good possibility that help will take a long time to reach you. So when the rule of law breaks down, civil unrest fills the street, law enforcement is going to be overwhelmed. That's a fact. Martial law may be an inevitability in the near future, especially in Portland and Seattle. And in those cases, but even then, few places will be safe. The best hope is that any civil unrest has a short duration, which has happened in Portland. I think they're like on day 60 now, and only occurs in isolated instances. In a fitting bit of irony, it's quite possible that any unlawful gathering, demonstration, or protest that results in civil unrest will find a new form of enforcement: the rampant spread of the coronavirus among those who choose to take to the streets. And there you have it. All right, my friends, I think that will do it for this episode of the Jeffers Brief. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Let them know about the Jeffers Brief. They're also crn.best. You can find there all the rest of our episodes. Everything from the Prepper Guy down to the Two Crazy Guys, the Conservative Underground, and the Jeffers Brief, and Prepping 2.0. Thanks for listening. I'm John Jeffers. We'll see you again next week. Have a good one.